In this video, I'm going to take you through 7 days sales moving average. We are going to solve it using multiple approaches. We are going to learn window functions, joins, and CTE as well. Such questions are quite oftenly asked in interviews, and hence it is important to learn the logic behind it. You may be expected to write the query right in front of the screen. So what we are going to do is, this is our problem statement. We have to write a query to calculate 7-day moving average. We are given a table sales and the columns are product ID, sale date, and sales amount. In the next 10 minutes, I'm going to take you through logic. We are going to create database from scratch. We are going to solve it using multiple approaches, and then we are also going to see when and where to use it. So the logic, let's look into this image, right? I have got 3 columns over here. We don't have product ID because product ID we are going to use it in our final in our script. But if you see the logic over here, for first 6 days, since we haven't reached 7 day yet, so I have kept it null. But for the 7th day, it is taking the average of 700 plus the values for last 6 days and then taking the average, right? And then so on and so forth. So basically for 800 plus last 6 days, the average value basically it is calculating and giving the output. That is what we are going to do in our SQL MySQL workbench as well. So let's get here and let's do very quick table creation, right? So I am just dropping because I have already created it. So I'm just dropped it. I created it. So if you see it here, you will see SQL practice now, but no tables. I'm going to say use SQL practice highlighted here, and I'm going to create this table, right? Sales table. So if you just run this here, select star from tables, you will see no records. Now I'm going to insert the records, right? I'm going to insert records here into the table so that we can write the logic. So let's run this, and now let's also run select star from sales. Okay, so what you see is, you see the output over here, right? The records are inserted basically into our tables. Now I'm going to take you through the solution. First approach is using window function. That is the first approach. I will write the query for you for the first one, and then I will just copy paste. Then I will use the query that I have already written, right? So let's write select product ID, comma sale date, comma sales amount. This is the column. These are the columns that we have got in our tables. And then I'm going to use round average. I'm going to do the average since I want to limit the decimal values, hence I used round. Average of what? Sales amount column, right? Average of sales amount column. And then I need to iterate row by row, so I'm going to use over partition by iterate through product ID, right? Product ID, and order by sale date, right? Order by sale date. Now, this is important. If you remember, I said that 7th day plus last 6th day. Again, 8th day plus last 6 days, right? Or basically that specific day plus last 6 days to calculate the rows. Now, so rows between 6 preceding and current row. So basically it is saying current row plus 6 days. Basically you can see it from here. Current row, this is the current row plus last 6 days. That is what I meant, right? Current row and then close it, comma 2, close it, and I would call it as 7 days moving average, right? Let's call that name 7 days moving average, average 7. Okay, that is what I give it a name from sales, and then order by product ID, comma sale date, right? Let's see what we are getting. So what I will do is I will just run this. You see the output, right? We are getting for each of these products, we are getting the average value. But the challenge here is for from starting from the very first day it is giving you the output, and we may not want that, right? We may say that for first 6 days do not give any output or any value, right? So we will use case when, another important concept coming up, we will use case when logic to say for first 6 days just keep it null. So you see that null I have put for first 6 days. I have used, row number logic over here, and then just limited using case when. So I run this. I would highly recommend you to type your own query and do not just copy paste, because it won't give you any learning, right? So if you see it over here, you see that for first 6 days it is null, then seventh day, eighth day it is giving you the average value, moving average for 7 days. Then again it moves to the next product ID, and hence it is blank or null, and then again moving average. So this is using the window function. Next is using self join. Basically in self join we manually join each row with its previous 6 days, and then we use a date filter to calculate the average. So let's do it here. Again, if you see sales same table. Now since it is join, so basically it is inner join, but since it is same table, so it is self join. I am applying the join based on this logic. So basically into that 6 days interval, 7 days interval, basically current row plus last 6 days. So that is what we are doing. And then I will run this. Again, same output you see over here is the we are getting for the average values, but the null values is still the challenge, right? So I will keep the null for first 6 days product wise, right? Product id wise. So again the same output, right? For first 6 days it is null, then average values null, and then average values. I used case when, very simple, and then self join concept over here. The last logic, not last logic, last approach is using CTE, common table expression. Whether it is optimal for this or not, that is a different thing altogether. We are going to learn it. We will see later if we have to use which one to use, which one not to use, right? So CTE, common table expressions, typically used to write down the complex logic, complex queries, and that is what we are going to use. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create using with, as you know that CTE starts with. So that is what I'm going to paste it here. So this I already wrote. Logic remains same, only that it is broken into multiple steps. So what you see is the first one is row number per product, right? It would help us in identifying rows having at least 7 records, so that we can apply the moving average. Next one, if you see, is calculation of the average values. We have done it earlier, right? So basically sliding window, the current row plus 6 rows, right? And then finally the null logic that we are adding for first 6 days, keep it null, and then only give it is if it is seventh, and so on and so forth, right? So this is again step by step calculation. So I will just run this. You see that same output we are getting. So basically I told you three approaches, right? One was using window function, another was using self join, and next one is using CTE. All these concepts are quite important and would be helpful for your interviews. You must practice. The codes are available in the descriptions. You can download it for your reference. However, I would highly recommend you to write your own query and see what is working, what is not. Let's get into the business use case. Now, when to use which one, right? In this scenario, since it is a small problem statement, use window function. uh, CTE might be a overkill, over engineering, but again good to know. In terms of when to use, where to use, if it is retail, e-commerce, marketing, you may want to understand KPIs like weekly transactions, weekly traffic. Or if it is logistics, you may want to understand the volume that you need to keep you in your warehouse. If you want to understand your volume of patient coming in your hospital, you may want to use on a weekly basis. There are various use cases and aligned with specific business, but this is very high level, and you can use this. In the next video I'm going to take you through rolling 3-month sales average, very much similar. You can practice on your own as well.